Let's be honest, there's no guidebook when it comes to relationships. So we end up having to stumble through life trying to figure things out for ourselves. What if there was a podcast that found the answers for you, that provided insight to build a successful relationship and ultimately find the companionship you've always hoped for? Welcome to the Girls Ask Guys show, where we answer the questions most people are afraid to ask when it comes to lessons in life and love. It's time to master this thing called life together with your hosts, John and Ashley.
And welcome back, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to listen to us one more time on day 5,284 days of quarantine. Friggin' awesome.
Love it.
Yeah, and as Ashley just said, it's kind of like the highlight of your day is when you see the mailman.
Yeah, you're like, tell me what it's like on the outside. You know what I mean? Like, we are all sitting here quarantined, and it is pretty fun. Just so you guys know, we have a store out, in case you guys didn't know, and John's been putting together these really cool designs, and I need you guys to go check it out. And if you really like it, the detail that you see there is exactly what you get. He's been filling me in on how these shirt things work, because I know me in fashion, but it's really cool. I think you guys should go check it out, because it's going to be, they're going to be basically revolutionary.
Yeah. I mean, there's some of them we've actually got less than a week. We released just a couple of different designs. But one of them, it has like over almost 8,000 views, which in just the last couple of days. But we did order a couple of these as samples that came in. And let me tell you, some of these designs were drawn with 0.5 pixel. And the detail on it, you can see that 0.5 pixel. No overbleed, no nothing. The design is actually embedded within the fabric of the shirt, so they're very light. You don't have that weight of the ink sitting on top of it like you do with the silk screen. And this isn't digitally printed, so it's not going to fade after 2 or 3 washes. The only way you're going to actually destroy these things is if you pour bleach on them.
What? And we love a good bleach fight. You know what I mean? Like, so that is awesome. You guys, these shirts are literally so well done. They're so well. Take a look. Hit up our merch store. I believe it's girlsaskguys.com/store.
/store, or you can actually go just hit the 3 little icons up in the left-hand corner. That'll bring you to your menu. You'll see, click on store. It'll drop it down. Pick whether you want to go to the women's store or the guys store, and it'll be right there. You can also check us out. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest.
Yes, Pinterest. Surprisingly amazing, just so you guys know. So shout out to Pinterest. We're kind of big fans of you right now. If you guys haven't checked out our Pinterest account, we have a board, right?
Oh, we have several boards.
Okay.
Our stuff is in the Girls Ask Guys custom. It's on that board there. But yeah, I mean, it's talk about amazing amount of detail. I've dealt with merchandise in the past. I've dealt with other manufacturers in the past. These people literally take our design, lay it out. When you order it, they make the shirt on the pattern, then they cut the pattern, sew it, and then send it to you.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, so this is cut and sew. It is not a cheap service, but the quality is amazing. You're only going to you're looking at a difference of about maybe $6, but something you can purchase and it'll last you for a couple of months, or that $6 is going to last you for several years.
This is true. Now that we spent 10 minutes plugging our store, begging you guys to buy things, I guess we should hop into the show. But we are super proud of everything that we've accomplished. So, of course, who else to brag about it but us? So, once again, buy our merch. Or even if you don't want to buy it, leave some comments. Get in touch with us. Tell us how wonderful we are. Because after all, podcast hosts just like gratification too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, otherwise we wouldn't be podcast hosts.
Right. We would be working in something a little more introverted, but that's okay. Actually, I'd argue that this is kind of an introverted gig, but whatever.
Since Google Maps become my best friend.
Right. I went to the Grand Canyon last week.
Yeah. What does the end of my street look like again?
My gosh, it's nuts, guys. How are you holding up in quarantine? Write us in, let us know. We do actually, that's cool. Send us your quarantine stories. Anything crazy happening with your kids, or your husband? Have you gotten a divorce? We know a good lawyer. And, no, we're just kidding. We don't know.
Or have you sparked up that new long distance relationship?
Ooh, yes. How are you? If you're in a long distance relationship right now, or even a non-long distance, like a same distance.
Well, the same city distance? You used to see each other every day, and now it's become long distance because you can't drive across town.
Are you guys doing sexy Zoom stuff? I mean, that's cool too. Like I imagine that Zoom is being used for a lot more than business right now. And I wonder if the people who are...
I was just reading that somebody actually, they stopped using it because somehow all of this quarantine stuff, somebody figured out how to hack Zoom.
For what?
I have no idea. They didn't go into a whole lot of detail, but they're like, does anybody have anything else we can record off of? Because apparently Zoom got hacked and people are stealing all the little sexy chats and everything.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh. Considering I think about the things I put on Zoom and none of it's sexy by any means, but like, I'm sure if they read it, they'd be like, okay, this person really needs to pay more attention to her job than this little chat conversation. I don't know. If you're using Zoom, let us know how that's going. What are you guys doing to keep the magic alive? Have you killed your kids yet? Or are you ready to drop them off at the fire station? These are the questions we like to know the answers to. Don't kill your kids though.
Well, we do have two questions almost identical to each other. One is from a guy. The other one is from a girl. And both of them are asking about what character traits do you look for? Oh my gosh. Okay. It's no secret what traits I look for because, well, go out to our website, click on the blog, and you'll find them.
Right,
those are the traits 14. That I look for. Yeah,
very simple. I have 14 too. Symmetry. But guys, this question's asked a lot, so I'm going to read the little paragraph. She says, okay, guys, need your honest feedback again. What character traits do you find a turn on or a turn off in a potential significant other? And for some reason it says in 2010. It's supposed to be 2020. So maybe, I don't know.
I probably hit a key.
Yeah. Women, what do you think they'll answer? And so to me, that's the most interesting part is speculation. Yeah. What do you think they'll answer? Why? I don't know. That doesn't make sense.
Well, the thing about character traits is you can change those if you want to. Right. But really understanding what character traits are, because people use different words interchangeably, but they actually mean something totally different. Kind of like how we discussed in our MGTOW show.
Yeah.
But that was just thinking about that group.
They're just ridiculous people. If you're a MGTOW and you're listening to this, go listen to our MGTOW show and listen to us rip you a new asshole because it was very fun. Traits you look for in a person. Your character traits, like you were saying, there's a difference between like personality traits and
character traits and core values.
Yep.
Because really, a lot of people, when they take your New Year's resolutions, for instance, people will sit down and go, I want to be a kinder person.
Make a whole plan.
And make the whole, well, actually, that's where their plan pretty much stops. They're like, I want to be nice this year.
As opposed to being a raging bitch you know what I mean? Ugh.
Well, I look at it and, okay, so really when we take a look at it, everybody starts being nice in somewhere around November. Then they're kind of nice through December. They're kind of nice through January. It starts tapering off in February.
Right after Valentine's Day.
Right after Valentine's Day.
Always.
Because that's the nice and happy season. So that's 4 months. The rest of the year, let's see, St. Patrick's Day, you get to cause pain to people because they're not wearing green. Then you have, what is it? Then you have Halloween. Halloween comes up. And
you get to scare people.
You get to scare the shit out of people. Oh, we can't forget about April Fool's Day. You get to
trick people.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, but you'd have the summer season kind of sits in the middle there, well, I get to go on vacation and say fuck you to everybody. So, and
yeah, that's true. That's true. So you make this plan to be this nice person all of a sudden, and guess what? You failed.
Yeah, they write it down and then they forget it. They're just like, it'll magically happen. I'll remember to do it for the next 4 days, or until my hangover wears off.
I think it's like a week and a half. People literally stick to their New Year's resolution before they absolutely fall on their face and fail. But to get back to it, when it comes to developing your character traits, personality, and this isn't necessarily what you look for in another person, because I think there's a direct result of what you look for in another person that you might be lacking in yourself sometimes. So, like me, I need somebody to keep me grounded, but keeping me grounded isn't necessarily a personality trait. You know what I mean? The personality trait for that would be a realist, because I think being a realist is something that is a part of your personality.
Well, there's a difference between, kind of going back to these definitions. You have core values. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people mistake core values as being, those are what kind of direct you. Well, no, actually a core value is nothing more than an idea.
Right.
It's an abstract thought.
Yep.
Now, you have a personality trait, but the thing about a personality trait is that it can be simulated. Mm-hmm. It's not actually who somebody is. It's how somebody would describe you to another person. This is their personality. This is what I see. But a character trait is actually who you are. That's your internal compass.
Yep.
Now,
those go directly. I see. To me, in my opinion, core values are directly related to your character.
So your character trait is actually who you are. Your personality trait is what you show to other people. But your character trait can become your core value.
Right. It's usually, I think it's like if you think of one of those bullseyes, where you kind of it's like the outer shell is this part, is the personality traits, then your core values, then your character. It's kind of like one of those. It's like Russian doll is a better way to put it.
Yeah. Because a lot of people say, well, this is my core value, but then you watch them and you're just like,
but you're actually different.
But you're actually doing something completely different.
Right. And as much as we like to admit it, or we hate to admit it, we aren't always the best judgment of our own character. I think It takes a person who knows you to really, if you find character traits that you might want to exhibit or you want to possess, you should ask somebody else if you have those traits or not, because sometimes you may have the trait and you don't even realize it, or sometimes you may be overstepping your thought process, or not even that way. Sometimes you might be, putting yourself on a pedestal you don't deserve to be on. So when it comes to those things and looking, what men look for versus what women look for, I think we all really look for the same thing.
Pretty much. I mean, and that's the funny thing, because that's, going back and looking at our freaking MGTOWs, what they are saying that they want is what pretty much everybody pretty much kind of wants. It's just
we all want to be happy.
Yeah. But they're just pigeonholing and saying, but I'm not going to take it because this is what their core values are. All they want is my money. I mean, that doesn't make any sense.
Right. And I think a lot of MGTOWs oversell the shit out of themselves, because it can't be them. It can't be them. It's got to be the rest of the world. And I think that's where we really need to kind of examine the truth about core values and character traits and all of those things. If everybody in the world is saying that you are a pompous asshole, you are a pompous asshole. Like it's that being honest with yourself, being honest about your core values and figuring them out. Like I said, I don't care what anyone says. When you're looking for a relationship, everybody wants the same thing. They want to laugh. You want to laugh with the person. You want to be able to take adventures or trips with the person. You want to be able to do something that you really enjoy with the person, and you just want to be loved. Yeah, that's what this all comes down to.
You want to be able to put your trust and your confidence in them.
And it all comes down to, it all comes down to that. Are you confident in this person to take care of you emotionally, not physically? I believe most people, unless you're in a transactional relationship, which, as you guys know, we consider a relationship, but it's very different. Yeah. It's a very different type of relationship.
That falls underneath a completely different set of rules and guidelines.
Right. When it's contractual, you guys have an agreement, and then your relationship moves forward. When you're in an emotional relationship, there's no negotiation. as there would be in a transactional relationship. You have to literally trust this person that they are going to be, supportive of you emotionally, and make sure that they're guarding your heart, because that's essentially what you're giving them, your heart. And when you look for those personality traits, there's some good ones and there's some not so good ones.
And the course that we have, we actually show people how they can change their character traits.
Right.
And it's really not as difficult as a lot of people may think. Now, it takes a lot of time,
right,
depending on how long you've been dealing with a specific trait that you want to get rid of and replace. So some of these, they come really fast. Some of them, they could take you quite a while, depending on how deep-seated it is. Because not only are you trying to replace that one trait, but all the other traits that surround it. So, say you want to be kind. Okay, well, what does being kind entail? Right.
Because there's a difference between being kinder and becoming a pushover. That's what you need to, that's a good point, that you guys need to understand, is that when you say you want to be kind,
or if you want somebody who is kind.
Right. But how kind? I mean, you can be a kind person and still be a manipulative bastard. You know what I mean? Like you can still be those things.
Yeah, that's simulating the personality. It's not a character trait, it's a personality. So they're simulating being kind.
And remember, when you first start talking to anybody, they're going to seem amazing. I think that's one of the biggest things about relationships that throws people, and that's why so many issues are brought up in such a short time and people don't date as long as they used to, because here's what happens. Everybody puts their best foot forward on the first date. 3 months later, you find out there's a secret kid or something. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You have to be able to constantly look for those personality traits. And I think they're all the same for all of us.
Yeah. I would say when you say that you're looking for something, define exactly what you're looking for. Because I've seen a lot of people, it's right at the very top of the list almost every single time. And we've mentioned this before. I want them to have a sense of humor, or I want them to be funny. Okay. Their sense of humor or their idea of funny needs to align with your sense of humor or your sense of being funny.
Yep.
Because if somebody thinks practical jokes are funny and you just find them cruel, well, yeah, they're a funny person. They're just not your type of funny.
And that's okay. That's the thing. It's okay. Because if it's not your type of funny, I think that's one of the most important things in a relationship, is that people have sort of the same type of humor. Because if you see a practical joke as cruel and they see it as funny, they pull a practical joke on you, boom, everybody's in the hospital. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. And so you have to be willing to draw a line in the sand and say, okay, I think these things are funny. You have to be very direct about everything. Yeah, very direct. And don't be afraid to be direct with people. I think being direct is something that we could all do more of every day.
Yeah. But also looking at, some people say strong. Well, a girl says, I want a strong guy. Well, he instantly starts thinking, okay, how much can I curl on the bars and how much can I bench press? That's
Please
where
don't tell me guys are that dumb.
Oh, yes, guys are that dumb. So what's your definition of strong? Strong personality? Or do you want somebody who is physically strong?
Right. And what does strong personality mean? Do you want somebody who is unwavering in their beliefs, or do you want somebody who is
going to be able to stand up?
Exactly, or stand too high up, because that's the problem, is when you get into the traits and when you get into these things, you need to be specific. You need to know exactly what you want, because if you know exactly what you're looking for, you won't be disappointed when you find it.
Yeah, or you won't skip over it when you do come across it, because you actually have a very clear sense of, this is the type of person that I am looking for. And you also have to be aware that who you are surrounding yourself with. Because if you want to change your own character traits, okay, here's the thing. When you are a member of a group, you fall in line with that group.
Right.
So when you fall in line with that group, you're going to follow exactly what they say and what they do. Now, if you want to become a person who is more selfless, but everybody that you're hanging out with is selfish and only looking out for themselves, guess what? You're going to be an outcast.
There's an old saying, man, show me who you're walking with and I'll show you who you are. You are the 5 people you surround yourself with. This has been proven time and time again. And when we say surround yourself with, we do mean friends.
Yeah, because people who are, let's see, what's a good way of putting this? A lone animal out in the wild is going to get eaten really fast.
Yep, absolutely. Dude, you have to have that support system. But once again, that support system needs to be reflective of what you want in life. I've always, people always say, if you want to level up, make sure your friends do too. Yeah. It's okay to outgrow people. It's okay to say, okay, guys, look, this selfish shit was funny when we were teenagers, but now we're adults and I'd like to start giving back.
Yeah. And if you're not doing that, you are always, whoever you are hanging out with, the people that you associate with, you try to change and they are going to drag you back in line, and you're going to fall back in line where that group wants you to be.
Exactly.
So if you're not the leader and you're the one that's always getting picked on, as soon as you try to change, they're going to let you know straight up that is not your place.
Yep.
And they're going to put you back in your place. And either you're going to fall in line or you're going to become the outcast.
Which is ridiculous, because if you're listening to this, you're a grown-ass adult and you shouldn't be being bullied by other adults. And that's another thing is, if you're an adult and you're looking for someone and you're saying, I want them to be kind, I want them to be caring, I want them to be a human being, basically, you're not giving yourself a descriptor. You deserve more.
Yeah, I want them to be passionate. I want them to be kind. I want them to be caring. I want them to be sweet and loyal and funny. We're not describing a dog.
Exactly.
And it's like this almost every single time. Just type this into Google and take a look at all these descriptors, and it's in almost every single magazine as well. Cosmopolitan, Men's Health, whatever tabloid type magazine you're reading that deals with relationships or anything like that. This is what they're talking about. I want them to be intelligent. I want them to be independent. I want them to be sweet. I want them to be generous.
Right. I'm like, okay.
Okay.
But you should also want somebody who makes you better as you, not as everyone. So when we say be as specific as possible, you're being specific to you, who you are as a person. I personally, one of my most specific traits is that the person has to literally be able to laugh at just about anything. Like dark humor, fart joke, any of that stuff. Because to me, I find there's no real spectrum of humor for me. Like, this isn't going too far.
Yeah.
So I need them to be able to laugh at anything, because once you find that one negative trait about somebody that you don't like, it's very easy to find the rest of them.
Oh, yeah. And once you start down that road, it's pretty much over, because then you're going to start finding all the little tiny flaws that you were overlooking are going to come out glaringly. And then you're like, I just wasted 5 months. So this is where those boundaries come in, and going through and filtering out. Now, the traits that, the negative traits that are out there, the ones that people avoid like the plague, well, there's a ton of those.
Oh, of course.
And each one is different, because I could bring up one and somebody could be, well, that's not negative, but everybody else thinks it is. So
right, like I actually do enjoy someone who's a tad bit manipulative. Obviously, not to the point where they're gaslighting and abusing, but for them to be able to, because when you think of manipulation, you automatically go to abuse. But there's also a form of manipulation like that lawyers do. You know, they play on the jury's emotions, and it makes for a good debate, argument, but
I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, I hate those kind of lawyers. Yeah, I hate them too, but let me tell you, if I'm in trouble, I want them to represent me. Who do you think I'm calling?
Yeah, right? Yeah. Where's Johnny Cochran? Exactly. Exactly. If I did something wrong, especially if I fucking did it, I'm going to want a lawyer like that. You know what I mean? And chances are I did.
But some people would actually think that a person who is submissive, they would actually consider that to be a negative trait. Well,
which is ridiculous.
Well, it would be if they were just totally submissive. Hey, go pick up that piece of trash over there. Okay. But I mean, now if they are a little bit.
Oh my gosh!
I mean, it's up to different people.
Right, and submissive doesn't necessarily mean pushover. There's a difference between someone who's submissive and a pushover. There's so many ways you can be submissive
or
without
it could be even timid.
Right. And that's the thing, is not understanding the difference in these words and considering something negative without really defining it. It's like, oh, I don't want someone who is uncaring. Well, no shit. Nobody wants someone who's uncaring, but I wouldn't like someone who's overcaring and passionate about literally everything. That would drive me up a fucking wall.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, everything doesn't need to be talked about. Sometimes things just happen.
Even another one that a lot of people consider as being a negative characteristic trait would be foolish. Okay, but every now and then I like being foolish.
And don't you want someone who's like not the smartest person? I don't know. I enjoy smart people, but smart people get on my like.
The only thing that annoys me about smart people is when they are smart and they act dumb.
Yes,
I mean that.
Yes, I feel that.
And I've run across that with more women than I can possibly think of.
It's a coping mechanism.
Well, because so many guys they get so intimidated by somebody who is smarter than them.
I've never understood that, but
I don't get it. I mean, if you've got several bachelor's degrees and you're working on a master's and your triple doctorate,
right?
Hey, that doesn't bother me. Teach me.
Seriously, exactly. I don't mind smart. Like I said, I don't mind somebody who's smart, just not a know-it-all. Somebody who knows they're smart and understands how to play their boundaries and how to be smart without being fucking degrading, you know? Because I think that's what a lot of it comes down to is when someone is obviously smarter than you, it may feel sometimes like they are humiliating you or they're being rude to you. When really I think they just don't know how to fucking talk to people because that's not their strong suit. You can be completely book dumb and an amazing, like emotionally intelligent human. I've met people who I wouldn't let them take their SATs from me, but they are so damn emotionally intelligent. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I've tried going to college several times.
Oh geez, college is not my strong point.
No, it's not mine either. And I think the last time I actually went to college, I almost committed academic suicide more than once. I'm an intelligent person. I do a lot of my own self-study. I do a lot of my own research. And I was actually offered to challenge the course or challenge the university. Just, hey, here's the final. You pass it, you got your degree.
I cleft out of like 7 fucking classes, dude.
Yeah.
There was no way. College is not my strong point.
I got into too many arguments.
It's not my thing. It just seems so repetitive.
Well, I think it was my third try. I was actually going for my certified financial planners designation.
Mm-hmm.
And the instructor that was teaching the course was talking about piling on mountains of debt. And I'm like, why would you do that?
That's exactly what you should do.
Why would you do that? Why? I'm going to build wealth by going so far into debt. It's going to be on a hope and a prayer.
Right.
That I'm actually going to earn enough to pay it all off to actually make the money.
People are dumb, man.
Yeah, so I was like, debt free. No bills. Darn, you pay off your car, guess what? You got an extra $400 to $700 pay increase every month because you no longer have a car payment.
If you buy a car that you can afford, you don't even need a car payment. You see how that works? But it's not college is not my strong suit. It never has. I've always been a poor student. I've always been a very poor student.
Yeah. I mean, go for it. I mean, there's so many jobs. There are so many jobs that you do not need a college degree for. Now everybody's like requiring it. So you need a bachelor's degree to go be a fry technician at McDonald's.
Yeah, a fry technician, a certified.
Oh, I'm sorry, a potato
grease
technician.
Instructor. Right. Yeah. Like, it's crazy, actually, the thing. And what's crazy is me and John have both been able to make fairly decent livings without college degrees. And that's just because it's not for us. But does that mean we're dumb?
No. But I'm also not going to cram my knowledge down your throat. If you don't ask me a question, I'm not going to tell you.
Oh, I call those people actually people, and they get on my fucking... There is nothing worse in this world for me than an actually person. Somebody who is constantly needing validation on how intelligent they are. Because guess what? Smart people already fucking know they're smart. You don't have to do that.
I've looked straight at people and because they try and rip me up, and I'm just like, I don't care.
I don't have the energy sometimes.
I don't have the energy. You don't like it. I don't care.
If you catch me on a bad day and I do have the energy for an actually person, I'm usually calling them names because I don't understand the pathological need to be smarter than everybody else. How do you have that kind of energy? So that's obviously, to me, a negative trait is being an actually person, but you may like someone who's constantly correcting you overbearingly.
I just want somebody who's going to challenge me.
Right. Someone who can help me think a different way.
Somebody who can challenge me, make me rise to the occasion.
Right. Make me listen too, because I'm a poor listener.
Yeah, those are the people that I try to surround myself with. And if somebody is constantly coming down on me, somebody's telling me I can't do something, somebody who's trying to they're not supporting me.
Right.
I distance myself. I will literally start to push them away, and they go to that far outer ring of my circle.
They don't matter. And that's what has to happen. Eventually, you have to put yourself first. And I guess that's kind of what what we're basically saying about this whole thing. Eventually, you have to know that for you deserve somebody who is going to make you happy in the way that you want. Some people want... I have to show you this fucking documentary because we have to do a show about it. There's this... It's really sad. It's actually like a BDSM... sort of... It's not really BDSM. It's more like abuse. But I gotta show it to you. It's this like fat loser who like lives in Brooklyn, and he wants a girl that he calls submissive. But what he doesn't understand is he doesn't want a submissive person. He wants a fucking slave, and not like a sexy slave like on South Park.
No,
he wants like a literal.
He wants to like hook him up to the dog collar and leave him around.
I gotta try and remember it. And he fabricates this whole lot. It's wild. And I think you'd enjoy it. And that just made me think of it. But you deserve somebody who's going to treat you like a human being.
Yeah, and listing out all of that's one thing that really kind of annoys me when I'm working with somebody and we're showing them how to meet the person that they want to meet. And you ask them, what do you offer? What are your characteristic traits? Because if you don't know what your traits are, how do you know what you're bringing to the table? And then once they finish that, okay, what kind of person are you looking for? Oh, well, they need to be at least 5'3".
Oh my gosh, you can't with that shit.
Yeah. And
I stopped tuning out.
Blonde hair, blue eyes, nice figure. No. I don't... Forget all that. What kind of person are you looking for? Well, blonde hair. I was like, oh my gosh.
Jesus Christ.
Describe their personality to me. And then you get they need to have a sense of humor. They need to be loyal. I'm like, okay. No.
Those are bare minimum human things.
That's what everybody's looking for. So pretty much you're looking for anybody that exists on the planet.
Literally anybody who can pretend to be a decent person while I'm in their life. That's basically what we hear when you say things like that, guys. Yeah. And it's just, you deserve somebody who's going to make you, like I said, you happy, not the rest of the world, not your parents, not your freaking boss, not your, if you want it to be that way, I would say go with a transactional relationship where you guys basically define exactly it. And that's it. It's easy.
Now, if that happens to be how it works out, that I show up at work and I've got somebody on my arm that everybody else is going, oh my gosh.
That's my favorite thing ever.
That's like,
I'm not going to lie.
That's like icing on the cake.
It's one of my favorite things ever. I love it.
But if it doesn't work out that way, I don't care and I don't care really what they say because they're not going out with them.
Yeah, like what? Exactly. I've never understood the concept of,
I can't go out with you. My friends don't like you.
Right. My friends don't like you. I like you. You like you. So like, I don't know. It's just kind of, you need to accept people. And I think coming to terms with that is something that really will elevate your thinking as far as what you deserve. Once you realize that you're a human being and you deserve to be happy and treated like a fucking human and not like a piece of fucking shit, you literally...
One thing on all of these lists that I do not see And it's like one of the things that almost everybody, it really pisses them off when somebody doesn't have this. Not a single person on any of these lists that I'm looking at, none of them say consistent.
You're right. Nobody ever says consistency. And that's literally one of the most important things. I think people confuse consistency with loyalty. And I think that's why it's never on the list, because they do. The people confuse words. Like you said, they use them interchangeably. And then you end up with a steaming pile of dog shit for a relationship. And you're like, how did I get here?
Yeah. Well, he's patient.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. He's patient while you're sitting there. Okay. It's 5:05.
Right.
He said he was going to be here at 4. Or sometimes he picks up the dishes when I ask him.
Right.
And he'll do it for like sometimes. 2 or 3 days later, or 2 or 3 days after.
I'm just thankful he does it at all. No, sweetheart, I can't stand. Do not make excuses for a person who's supposed to love you ever. Do not allow that. You know, I'm just happy. Kind of, I don't know. I guess we all have our faults, but you deserve someone to make you happy, so be happy.
I don't see forgiving on any of these.
That's a good one. I never even think about forgiving, and I'm a fuck up. But yeah, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, damn, that's a really good one, man. And like, that's something I probably should look for in people now. Like, damn, how forgiving are you? And there's a difference when you think forgiving. Don't think doormat, you can do anything you want to me and I'll still love you.
We're not talking submissive or timid. We're talking about somebody that can actually, okay, you fucked up. It's no big deal. Just try not to do it again.
Right. There's a difference between forgiving and stupid. And that's another thing you have to, like, people always say, I want someone smart. Like, smart about what? What do you want? What do you want them to be, a walking encyclopedia? Do you want, vast knowledge?
Street smart? Do you want them to be able to think through a situation that, like an emergency, and be able to hold their nerve?
Right. Do you want them to know how to fight? These are things you need to know. You know what else is never on the list? Self-aware. And that's like a thing. It's super important. You need to date someone who's self-aware, who understands themselves. Empathetic. Yeah. I guess. I mean, like, probably not. Because if you can feel what I'm feeling and I'm not feeling happy about you, you might start feeling scared. So maybe not empathetic. Definitely empathetic. But yeah, self-awareness. Yeah. All these things are important. They need to be able to be independent. And I mean that in the way where not just monetarily, I mean like thinking wise.
Yeah. Well, I like somebody who's independent, but also somebody who, logical.
Yeah.
I want them to be able to, let me see if I can think of that word again. It's one that not a lot of people even think of. Sagacity.
What? Spell that.
Sagacity.
That's like, what? Sagacity.
Soundness of judgment.
It's not a word. Spell again.
Sagacity.
Okay. So it is word. Look at you. That's cool. Like, yeah. The quality of being sagacious. I feel like we're butchering this word like crazy. We're like, we're smart. We didn't go to college. You know what I mean? Look at us.
But having acuteness of mental discernment and soundness of judgment. So pretty much what that means is that when the shit hits the fan, you don't lose your shit.
Yeah, I get it now. Yeah. No, I like that, but I call that level-headed. That's what us non-educated folk call it. We call it level-headed, and I need someone like that. I need someone who is not crazy.
Kind of like when all of this stuff started off, I wasn't out there buying up the entire aisle of toilet paper. I mean, I was just like,
because some fucking nut job already bought it.
Yeah. Well, I was sitting there, I was like, okay, it's a virus.
The only thing people should have been buying in excess was alcohol and cigarettes, because that is not an excuse to leave your house, people. You're addicts. Get some help.
The way that I'm looking at it right now is because all the toilet paper is gone. I mean, well, I take that back. All of the paper products are gone.
It's like actually gone too. Like I went to a store and I was like, where the fuck is this? I thought it was an exaggeration.
I went in today, and actually it was early this morning, and it wasn't for toilet paper or anything else. Literally, I was out of coffee. So I was like, I hope they still have some. And sure enough, I'll walk in and there it is. Aisle 6 is packed. I mean, all of the coffee products, everything you could possibly need to make a cup of coffee. Well, I picked that up and I'm like, okay, let me go down here because I am kind of running a little bit low on dish soap. I turn the aisle and it is empty.
Yep, just like bare shelf. I've never seen anything like that before.
And the guy is sitting there and he's like putting up like, I don't know, some air fresheners and stuff. And he's like, oh, yeah, good luck on buying any of that stuff. He's like, you know what the crazy thing is? It was fully stocked yesterday. We got in 3 trucks.
I 100% believe that shit. People are not. And I told you, for some reason, pasta is gone where I live. Like, I don't know what's happening in the world, but why anyone needs 18 shelves worth of pasta is
the way I'm looking at it is because all the paper products gone, all the alcohol is gone. So pretty much, I guess people are sitting there going, well, if I'm going to die, I want to die drunk and with a clean ass.
Right? Dying drunk. I can dig the idea of buying a shit ton of alcohol because a lot of people have nothing else to do. And if you're single at home on a Wednesday morning, why the fuck not? You know what I mean? Like, why the fuck not? But if you're just chilling, I don't know. Yeah, so sagacity or whatever that fucking word is, that is what you need.
Yeah, when everything starts going down, because really, if you want to know exactly who somebody is, there's really 2 ways of doing it. And I really only suggest one way. When somebody starts getting extremely tired, you start seeing the real character start come out.
Like a baby. I get like cryy when I'm tired.
Or the other way of doing it is to put them under an extreme amount of stress. No, because this is one thing I really don't go into a whole lot of these stories. But when I was over in Iraq, I was sent down to the headquarters unit to pick up some of our replacements and bring them back to the company. So I'm coming back, and I had one of our other sergeants, he was with me, and this guy, he was like, I don't know, I guess he thought he was Rambo or something. But we're walking back. I'm kind of walking a couple steps in front of them, talking to these guys, and we hear the mortars fire off. I turn around and just like, okay, where'd you guys go? And I was like, dude, they're not going to hit us. The angle is wrong. Let's go. These guys were all down inside the ditches along with this guy, and he was like barking out orders left and right. And I was like, they're mortar rounds. What are you going to do? Look at him and say, stop? But he was freaking the fuck out.
Yeah.
But he's also supposed to be a leader. He's not a leader. Sometimes. Yeah. And I've seen it working at the law enforcement agency that I'm at. When the inmates start bucking and you've got to go in there, you need to get them under control. Otherwise, it's going to get real fast. And you see the guys that some of them have it, some of them don't. But they'll talk a good game until the shit hits the fan. And then you start seeing what their real personality is.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. And that's the thing. And you need to be honest with yourself about what happens to you. Like for me, if I'm under an intense amount of stress, I'll probably just stop what I'm doing for a solid 20 minutes. I'll literally just stop. Be like, fuck this.
I would start, if I start to get really pissed off, I actually get really quiet. And if I start getting under a lot of stress, I'm going to get quiet, but I'm also going to take a step back and I'm going to start looking at what is actually taking place.
Right. Why I'm so stressed out. Is it really worth being stressed out over? I think if it's not, then I'm like, all right.
Any judgment calls that I want to make is going to be based on what is currently happening in that moment and the outcome that we're trying to get.
Yeah. If I'm angry at someone, it goes one or two ways. I could either A, freak the fuck out on the person, or B, just be like, okay. Literally just say okay and walk away. It depends on who's making me angry about what. If I'm angry about work stuff, I just say, okay. And I just say, okay. Yeah. And I turn my phone off. If it's like a relationship, I will argue. I swear to God. And then after like 5 minutes of me shouting my head off, I'm like, oh God.
Yeah. And when I'm under a lot of stress and I make a decision, it is a resolute decision. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's firm. I'm not going to be changing my mind.
Yeah.
So somebody's going to have to come in there and like seriously override me. So when somebody's sitting there, they're asking, like kind of going back to our questions here. When somebody's asking, what kind of traits do you look for? Make sure that you really know what you are looking for. You're not looking for a concept or an idea. You know that what you are looking for is very specific. That way you're not wasting your time with generalities.
I literally just summed the whole show up in one sentence. we should just start making these like 2-minute mini shows where it's like rapid fire questions and we're just like, okay, you fucking dumb. You know what I mean? Like, that would be fun.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of other stuff that goes into it, but yeah, we don't have time for that.
No, we don't. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah. But, I mean, it was a good question. It did come from both the guy's side and the girl's side. What character traits do you look for? Well, if you want to know mine or Ashley's, go on our website, go to the blog, and it's right there. You can read it for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll see how we defined each one of those. They do get rather specific. This is exactly what I'm looking for.
They're pretty specific, and I'm very, very picky about people. That's why my relationships go so well. But no, you can see them all if you would like to, let us know about your traits and say, hey, what do you think if I can do? Should it be this or should it be something different? And then you let us know.
Yeah. Or if you want to be a certain way. So say that you don't have a very strong will or you're not very resolute in your decisions. You can change that. And in our course that we've been kind of referring to, we show you how to do that. So you can actually become the type of person that will attract the type of people that you want to get to know or hang out with, or you want to move up in your career and, well, you're not this way. So how do you get that way? Being able to change your character traits, the payoff is so huge.
Yep. And then and once you learn how to do it, you literally watch yourself transform into this amazing person, hopefully humbling, amazing person. And you see who you were. And you do have this moment where you stop and you think to myself, I can't fucking believe this.
Yeah, actually, there are people that you haven't seen in, I don't know, depending on how many traits you're actually trying to change. But you can change 15 of them or embody 15 different traits. And people that you haven't seen in 2, 3, 4 years come by and they're like, oh, hey, how you doing? And they're like, dude, you are nothing like you were couple years ago.
Yeah, dude, I swear it's happened to me, man. And that's the beauty of what we're teaching you about. It's that you can be this person that you've always wanted to be. I used to say I always wanted to be a nice person. I don't want to be an asshole. And so I did it. I stopped being an asshole. And it's not easy. It's not very easy, especially if you've lived your life a certain way for X amount of years. You have to get used to all the changes that you make. You have to. And it's
all those little tiny itty bitty habits that you need to tick off and kind of get rid of. It can take a while. Yeah. You can look at changing just one character trait, but when you look at it, you're changing 100 of them.
Everything. Yep. It's a butterfly effect. Once you notice that this one trait has been changed, so many things around you. And like John said, people are going to say it, people are going to notice it. You're going to obviously become more confident. You're going to once you start leaning towards the person you want to be, everything changes. And once everything changes and it's aligned and it's congruent, life is fucking awesome. That doesn't mean it's not perfect. Trust me.
No, you still have the bad day.
Right. We're not sitting here we have transformed ourselves into human, into perfect humans. You can ask my girlfriend. She'd be like, yeah, okay. You still might have a fucking drinking problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not a perfect person. You're just a better version of yourself than you were.
Yeah, you're a better version of yourself, and other people will see that, and you will repel the people you don't want. You don't even have to really do anything. They just oh, yeah, not going to hang out with him. So you repel the people you don't want to have anything to do with, and you attract the people that you want to have dealings with.
Yep. Very simple.
Yeah. The only other way that I can put it is it's like magic. When it starts to happen, it's like friggin' magic.
Yeah, it's more like getting sober. I think that's the best way to put it. Like, because you have to go through this little detox of all the bad things about you. You have to get them out. You have to really realize what they are and start making these changes. And every day you live with this, monkey on your shoulder about how you used to be this and you used to be that. You have to overcome your past. It's really eye-opening what happens when you change and become a better person.
Yeah. It's just becoming a better version of you, becoming the person you've always wanted to be. So,
well, if that's interesting to you, go on over to our website.
Check it out. Because probably within the next week or two, I am hoping we're going to be launching this very first one. And we've got something
right after you guys get your stimulus checks.
Yeah.
We know you're getting them. No, that's terrible. Actually, the timing just happens to work out that way.
Yeah.
But also, if you have bills, please pay them. If you just want to write in and say anything to us, go ahead. During this trying time in the world, we can't even just say, that's what's crazy to me is the whole world is going through this entire thing together. So it's time for us to really be positive, be excited. If you guys need a person to talk to, or you're feeling stressed about your relationship, write into us. Don't worry, we don't turn things into shows without your permission. And we can, write back. Fan mail is always fun. And if you, once again, head over to the website, head over to the store, pre-register for the course, just listen to the show, write in, tell us what you're doing. What is it? Share, subscribe, follow, and all of that good stuff.
Yeah, and with that, we will talk to you on the next one.
Bye.
That's all for this episode of the Girls Ask Guys show, where all of us learn to master this thing called life together. For more answers to your questions on life and love, be sure to subscribe to the show so you don't miss a single episode. And head to girlsaskguyshow.com to submit your questions for a future episode or apply to be a guest on the show. Good luck out there, and we'll catch you next time, right here on the Girls Ask Guys show.